Hello and welcome back, Edward Osvich. George Stoy here from the SoonerScoop.com studios. Josh Christian back in Houston HQ. A busy week in the recruiting scene. Welcome back to another recruiting report. Josh, welcome back. Welcome in. How are we?
Good guys. Ready? Are we ready for our first SEC week? And I mean, talk about trial by fire. This is going to be a really interesting week.
A mighty big test coming up on Saturday for Oklahoma in national primetime. Obviously, 6:30 kickoff on ABC. A bunch of old and new friends coming to town this weekend. It's going to be packed. It's going to be a packed week here on the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel. It's going to be a packed week on SoonerScoop.com. Really good chance to join SoonerScoop.com for you guys out there. 50% off flash sale, and you can take advantage of that with the promo code BOOMER. That is BOOMER. 50% off flash sale for annual memberships, and probably no better time than now with the start of conference play. Oklahoma making it through the non-con schedule, 3-0 on the season. This is a recruiting report, though, and Josh, you were out and about over the weekend seeing 2027 quarterback offer. Peyton Houston, the Evangel Christian quarterback, the sophomore, really impressive stuff. I think that's one of those times that you sent back some video. I was like, okay, this is a guy right here in Peyton Houston. What can you tell us from his day? 45-17 win over, how do you even pronounce it? I kept wanting to say Nacogdoches. I know that you weren't in Texas, though. You're over in Louisiana.
Yeah, I wanted to call it Natchitoches, and it is Natchitoches.
Natchitoches.
And I don't know how you look at that spelling and get Natchitoches. I've got to think that it's obviously an old Indian word that a bunch of rednecks in Louisiana couldn't say, and they're like, we're just going Natchitoches. And they just went that way, and that was the final verdict.
Well, the one thing we can say about Peyton Houston's performance, 28 of 40, 414 yards, 6 touchdowns, and as you noted, a lot of that coming in the first half. 15 of 23, 204 is what you had it loosely at or roughly at. 4 touchdowns in the first half, and what you see is what you get. I think there's a reason why there's a lot of teams waiting in line for the services of one of the top quarterbacks in the sophomore class.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy, Oklahoma's got 2 offers out in 2027. That's one of the reasons we wanted to go see him. There's a very realistic chance this could be Oklahoma's quarterback in that class. And the thing I like the most about Peyton is that a lot of, especially young guys, they kind of can either play within the offense or they're kind of street ball guys. I thought Peyton showed the ability to do both. And we talked about it in the interview. For those that haven't seen it, it's now up on the Sooner Scoop editorial page. We'll have it up on the front page of the site here before long. What I mean by that is, like, he could run the offense, and to the point, like, he's moving guys around. And this is a guy making his second start at Evangel. And he's got putting people in motion. He's even at one point, Evangel, and I know Oklahoma fans can relate, got called for a couple of illegal formations because they had offensive linemen too deep in the backfield. And he's literally like calling the guy out, like, slide up, slide up, slide up. Like he was really running that offense. But at the same time, you can see it on these clips. If a play breaks down or there's pressure in his face, he is more than capable of getting out of the pocket and making plays with his feet.
Josh, you mentioned that this is a very realistic option for the 2027 class. Who's all recruiting him? What are some of the names? I know we talked about him back in camp, and he was so impressive. I mean, you watch him throwing the football, but I'm sure that there are a lot of schools in this race.
Yeah, one of the ones that I think is going to be very real is Texas. I think that was where he went over the weekend last week. He mentioned, wanting to get to Oklahoma. He mentioned Mississippi State. I believe Texas A&M is also going to be a real factor there. So a lot of schools that recruit Louisiana very hard are going to be typical. Now, LSU, I know a lot of people would point to. I don't think that's going to be as big of an issue. They are already recruiting some people. I believe they have a quarterback in state that they're already zeroed in on. So I think that's a little bit of a different scenario for them. But yeah, from everything I've gathered, this is a guy that probably will leave Louisiana. I think that's currently the plan. And I would say Oklahoma, Texas, and A&M are probably the 3 that kind of make the most sense to me at this point.
There seems to be a certain amount of just effortlessness that Peyton Bowen is able to display. And as you said it, as you talk to him, What?
You said Peyton Bowen.
Damn it, Peyton Houston. My
the carry.
apologies. I know he's starting to rub off on me a little bit. Get OU's roster right. That's me and Carrie talking back and forth to each other that you cannot hear. There is a certain amount of effortlessness that goes into him. It's hard to imagine, but just watching some of the tape that you sent back that you're watching now, he's just a sophomore in high school right now.
He really is. I mean, like I said, that's what surprised me so much. Like, I knew he was athletic. And again, I don't know that he is – like, we're not talking about Kyler Murray, but like he's absolutely I kind of compared him to like a Baker Mayfield in the way he moves around because he's very good at buying himself time in the pocket. He's not a guy that as soon as it breaks down, he's going to try to get upfield. He came off one time and he wasn't looking at me, but obviously he knew I was there. And I see him talking to one of his teammates. He's like, I don't want to run the ball. Like he was like trying to be clear. Like, I'd rather sit back there and just throw it the whole time. But if it breaks down, he'll do that. This play was incredible.
Unbelievable.
Ball gets snapped way off to his right. He flings it, puts it right there, and the receiver makes a nice run after the catch. That's the best play I've seen so far this year, as far as just kind of a guy making, what was the old expression, the Thunder guy that got canceled a little later, the chicken salad, a chicken something else?
Yes.
That's what it looked like to me. So he was just really good and really consistent. And again, I thought being a young guy like he is, I would see bigger drops in moments and stuff like that. But their offense was just clicking the whole night. And again, they're a talented team. For those that don't know, Evangel used to be one of the programs in Louisiana. And I think with him, they're going to start trending back in that direction. But yeah, I mean, look at the beautiful throw. And that was just briefly, one of the other things that I really liked, he is a guy that on the move throws very well. He keeps himself together mechanically. He doesn't get wild. He can deliver, while drifting to his left and drifting to his right really nicely.
Josh, how tall is he?
I would say he's probably 5'11" right now, something like that. He's a little smaller than me. I heard somebody like making the Kyler comparison. He's much bigger than Kyler was at the same age. But I don't think he's ever going to be like a 6'3" guy, but he's big enough. He's got a real over-the-top delivery, so he can make up some of that difference. So, again, it's not the ideal size, but I don't think it's problematic for him.
He's got a cannon.
Yeah.
Can't deny that.
It's very, very impressive stuff from the sophomore in Peyton Houston. And I think that, Kerry brought this up. He wears number 1. I remember him coming back to OU football camp over the summer. I think that there is some Kyler Murray fandom there. Maybe if the comparison, if you don't want to get into that, I think that he is somebody that Peyton Houston obviously looks up to, as I'm sure there's a lot of guys in the high school ranks that are looking up to Kyler Murray and what he's been able to do. Really good Sunday for the Arizona Cardinals as well. Moving along, we go to Denton Guyer and 2027 commit Zayn Row, a impressive performance. Kevin Sperry actually had a really good game as well for Denton Guyer, 18 to 30, 265 yards, 4 touchdowns. But let's talk Zayn Row and some of the film that he was able to put out on Friday night against North Crowley, and actually a loss for Denton Guyer.
Yeah, I'm sure Zane loves it. We're going to highlight the first loss of the season for Denton Guyer. But what I did kind of want to note is you see him lined up. We've got him circled there. This is John Turntine at right tackle there, and he doesn't go head up with him there, but they will I believe on the next play that we'll run right here. This is no, it's the same play, but you're going to watch him. He'll go against 50 here, John Turntine, right here on this clip. This is one of the best offensive linemen in the state of Texas in that 2026 class. So he's a year older than Zane. Zane sheds him, gets inside of him, makes a nice tackle there right for the line of scrimmage. So this is the kind of potential this guy has. I mean, John Turntine could absolutely play at Oklahoma. He's probably going to end up at Texas. I've got a prediction in for him, but this is a guy that could go play anywhere. This is a big-time offensive lineman. This isn't Zayn Row beating up on somebody else. But, again, look at the movement skills. And he missed the previous week's game, had an injury, little minor knock that he kind of held him out. And you can see on his leg that he's still getting through some stuff with that little bit of coverage he's got. But, again, just a big, long, physical guy that's still figuring it all out. but he's going to get nothing but better, and you can see flashes of what Oklahoma's excited about.
Josh, that's what I wanted to ask you about him. I mean, he's got a lot of raw talent, but where do you want to see him maybe get? Is it just the fundamentals? Is that where you want to see him get better this year?
I think the biggest thing, and it's true of so many young defensive linemen, is just hands. Like using your hands, not throwing your shoulder into a guy, like understanding how to use leverage. Guys, I'm working on the Monday Morning Idiot as we record this, and I'm watching PJ at a bar away, and you're like, oh, he's starting to figure that out a little bit. Like that's starting to come together for him. And it's kind of the same deal with Zane, where you're just like, okay, like once you understand the strength and length that he has, because he's not, I mean, guys, you've seen the kid. He's 6'5", 240. He's an enormous young defensive end. And I think sometimes these guys want to play like they're R. Mason Thomas. And like, man, you're not going to beat everybody with speed and get underneath their shoulders. Like that's not the way it's going to work for you. But if you can learn to use your hands and play with leverage and all those kind of things, you can be dominant. It's just kind of in a different way. And I think that's something that Zane will grow into over time.
Really good performance, despite the loss for Denton Guyer. And I'm sure that they're going to be aiming to get back to what Denton Guyer. North Crawley's a really good team out of the DFW area, are they not, Josh?
Yeah, they beat DeSoto the week before. I mean,
okay.
like North Crowley is a legit state title contender. They are playing big-time football.
Very, very good. Good to see, though, for Zayn Row, the 2027 Oklahoma commit. It's now time to tell you guys out there in YouTube world about our friends at William & Lauren, the official custom clothier of OU football. William & Lauren outfits your favorite OU players in custom suits that boost their confidence off the field to match their confidence on the field. Their perfectly tailored clothing ensures every suitor stands out in comfort and style at prices that make luxury accessible. Visit William & Lauren in Oklahoma City or online at williamandlauren.com. That is williamandlauren.com. Dress like a champion and make your style as legendary as OU football. You see Ethan Downs there, all the Oklahoma players, all the suits that they wear coming into the stadium during the Walk of Champions on the north side of the stadium, which I feel like has gone extremely well here with the move over from the south side to the north side, as you see a number of those guys coming in to the gates on Saturdays. Shout out William & Lauren, one of the great clothiers there in the Oklahoma City, the BLC. WilliamandLauren.com. Make sure you check them out. We continue the look at a couple of I guess one commit and one target. Let's move to the offensive line, though. We'll start out in this state of Utah, actually, with Darius Afalava. We remember him, talking to him, catching up with him the day of his commitment, the 2025 offensive line commit, and his team went against Corner Canyon, which, that name should be familiar with some of you that follow the high school ranks, one of the better high school football teams in the country, upset IMG earlier in the season, but he put together some pretty damn good tape, Josh.
Yeah, this was a rematch of last year's Utah State Championship game. Corner Canyon and Sky Ridge are two teams that go back and forth. Sky Ridge won state 2 years ago. Corner Canyon got them last year. So these are two very good programs. And Afalava is just burying people. Part of me choosing, because, a little behind the scenes, we always kind of go over who had some good film from this week? Who can we watch? I wanted to pick an offensive lineman because I thought OU fans could use some hope. And Darius Afalava is burying people. This is what you're looking for. Look how big and strong he is, and he just turns this guy and just puts him on his back. And that's impressive because you're talking about a guy coming at him with force and momentum and all that sort of stuff. And here's Afalava getting out to the second level. Look at him driving his feet. He's finishing blocks. There are guys you watch and you're like, that's a Bill Bedenbow guy. This is a Bill Bedenbow guy. He wants to finish. He's nasty. You wouldn't know it, as you mentioned, Eddie, when we talked to him during his commitment. Nicest kid as you'd ever want to talk to, but you can see it on tape. He finishes with some authority. Josh,
do you have any comps for him? I mean, he kind of reminds me just watching him, and maybe it's because he's just pancaking dudes, but like a Ben Powers at guard or even like a Drew Samia, Cody Ford, somebody like that. I mean, do you have a good comp for him?
I don't think the Cody Ford one is bad. I think that one actually makes some sense. Same kind of physicality, kind of a guy that I think in a pinch is probably athletic enough to play tackle, though I think guard is his best position. Obviously, Cody excelled playing tackle at Oklahoma, but I think Darius is definitely better inside, especially with the two bookend guys they've got committed right now in Fasusi and Foje. But Afalava is a really good athlete. I think one of the things I noticed this year is he's trimmed down some. I think he's taken off some bad weight, looks a little leaner, a little more explosive. But yeah, the Cody one is not bad. He kind of, in some way, I would say as a junior, kind of with what I'm talking about with the weight change, he reminded me maybe a little more of Duke Robinson, kind of just massive, big guard, would just swallow you up kind of guy. Now I'm seeing him move around a little better. He looks more natural. He talked with us on that interview that Eddie and I did. We're loving to counter. He loves that counter. He loves to pull, that kind of stuff. Now you can see it and you're like, okay, yeah, I could believe that. So him kicking out a tight end or something on that GT pull or that GT counter, I think that could be a very successful play for Oklahoma.
Obviously part of the Bill Beatabo 2025 class that is going to receive a lot of attention here as we move further and further along into the season. I think a lot of Oklahoma fans hoping they can get to campus ASAP.
Maybe this week.
I don't think that that's going to be a possibility. I would imagine that the coaches over at Skyridge would have a little bit of trouble with that understanding, but certainly somebody that Oklahoma fans can look forward to getting to Norman here in the future. 2026 also offers another, not commitment, but he's a target and a guy that I think that we all three fell in love with during the summer, and that is our big guy friend out of Euless Trinity High School, standing at 6'3", 370, our guy that will need no introduction, Mr. Katoa. I'm not, and you notice how I'm not even going to attempt the first name if you want to try that out. Katoa? I butchered that, but at least we tried.
That's what people are here for, Eddie. They want to hear you go in on these names. They're ready for it.
Katoa, the big guy that made it, Bill Beatabo smile at the summer camp. Had a really good day, though. And as you noted, Josh, it's hard to imagine that this man is not the biggest guy on the Euless Trinity offensive line. It's insane. I think Euless Trinity is starting to get some of those big boys yet again.
Yeah, you're starting to see that pick up because look, as we go through these clips, he is the right guard, and you see him locked up right here on this guy. And I mean, you talk about a dude that plays with nastiness. Katoa wants to bury everybody. But look at the right tackle next to him. I think in one of these clips, they'll have a shot from behind. You can see the guy. Look how large that human being is. Like, that is a massive man. He makes Katoa look like an average offensive lineman as far as size. And that big old dude is just out there like, I don't want to run into that guy. No, never, ever. But yeah, again, the focus is Katoa. And again, just clip after clip, it's him putting people on their back, him turning people. We talked about it after camp. He moves his feet so well for someone as big and heavy as he is. When you think about him getting to college, and guys, I mean, he's going to have to drop probably 30 pounds in college. Like, if he's at that legitimate 370, you can't play it that way. Like, that's not going to work. But he carries it so well, I've got to think he can do it. And again, just as you watch him, like, look at the hands. When he again, he's not even fully on balance here. He's a little off center and just hits that guy with the forearm and puts him on the ground. Like, that's not normal strength. Most guys can't do that. Most guys can't do that when they wind up for it. So to see him just forearm shiver a guy onto his back, that gives you some idea of what these poor high school defensive linemen are dealing with.
I was just about to say, I feel bad if you're in the way of him as he's pulling around on that counter play, Josh. But I wanted to ask you about, where's he at in his recruitment? I know he's a 2026 guy, but as you start to shift your focus to that class, as they've pretty much finished up 2025, where is he in his recruitment? Who are some of the other schools in the mix?
Yeah, we talked a little bit last week, just kind of about what his plans were, what he was going to do. He doesn't have anything set up at the moment. There's no unofficials, nothing's definite. He's kind of sitting down with his dad, and they're going over stuff. But he was very clear he's going to get to Oklahoma for a game. Like, he's definitely going to do that. My personal feeling is maybe Oklahoma's a little out in front here. I think they put a lot of energy into him early on. And again, this is a guy, and I've said it a lot of times. I know we're almost building this kid into a star. There is a guy that just fits Oklahoma and their coaching staff really well, and he's that kind of kid. Like, the buy-in's good. He understands the work. Like, a lot of guys are big and heavy because they just don't do what they're supposed to do. That's not him. He's just a big guy. He's going to have to lean out. His body will change. Like, that's all fine. But again, You talk about if you could get this guy Afalava to go with Fasusi and Foje with Hollenbeck, that's a lot of nasty on one offensive line. Those are some dudes that want to hurt people. And I use that in a very loose term. There's no dirty players here, but just guys that absolutely want to mix it up. Those are guys that want to be in a phone booth, and then on the outside you've got Foje and Fasusi, just uber athletes. I mean, that's the kind of offensive line that makes Bill Bedenbaugh sleep better at night. That's what he's looking for, those kind of types. So again, I think Oklahoma's in good shape. I think he'll visit Texas. I think he'll visit A&M. I think you're going to see a lot of the usual suspects kind of in Dallas. Wouldn't shock me if he went down to LSU at some point. But he is pretty open, I think, in general terms. I do think he really likes Oklahoma, but outside of kind of the usual schools, I haven't heard anything that says, okay, somebody's really making a run here. I think he is kind of quiet about all this. Like, he'll talk to you. I don't want to make it sound that way, but he's not anyone that's getting too advanced with anything just yet. He's going to kind of take his time.
And as a reminder, the Peyton Houston interview that you did on Friday night is up on SoonerScoop.com's editorial page. If you want to hear from Peyton Houston, talking with you, catching you up on everything in terms of his sophomore season at Evangel Christian, as well as some of the visits that he's going to be making over the course of a busy fall, it sounds like, for the Houston family. And then once again, Josh, an entire recap of all of Oklahoma's commits from over the weekend in the Future Sooners, which was posted on Sunday night, that you can check out on SoonerScoop.com. Before we get out of here, I know this is a recruiting report. We'll kind of slowly transition into some of the Oklahoma team stuff. Obviously, the Monday Morning Idiot is underway on the Crimson Corner, going down and breaking down a bunch of the plays from OU's 34-19 victory over Tulane heading into this week and the big game that is on Saturday night. Anything sticking out to you that maybe you didn't see on Saturday night when you joined us for the Eskridge Lexus postgame podcast?
The thing going through, and I'm about halfway through the Idiot right now. We're about to hit halftime where I've gone through it. I think, with the exception, and I know we kind of talked about this during the pod, but I don't know that I was confident in saying any of it. I think they found their five once Branson Hickman's back. I think that's starting to become clear. I think Jake Sexton's your left tackle. I think Heath Ozida has done enough to earn his first start. I think that's where they're going to be at. Josh Bates, will be the center until Hickman or Everett, whoever it is ready to go. And then Fabechi Nwiwu and obviously Michael Tarquin at the right side. So I think more than anything, you're starting to find some consistency. I thought the pass pro was really pretty good against Tulane. They had a few moments where early in the game, Logan Howland struggled to anchor a time or two. You had Michael Tarquin get beat, with quickness. Again, stuff's going to happen. Nobody's going to be 100% in this world, in the situation that Oklahoma's in. But I think more and more you're seeing consistency as a group. And again, to me, the thing I liked is I thought you started to see also a little growth out of the receivers. I thought Zion Kearney had some moments. I thought Zion Kearney looked really nice blocking. You can go back, the Jackson Arnold long run, he's the one that seals the corner inside and keeps him from getting back out on Jackson. Zon Raggins had Ragins. This is my Eddie thing. I'm never going to get his name right. I don't even know which way is right anymore. It's everything's up and down. But I like that a lot. And guys, I would say if anything I buy into on this team, that run defense is outstanding. It's really, really good. I don't know that they can make Tennessee one-dimensional, but I think they can do about as good a job of it as anybody Tennessee will see this year.
Josh, what did you think of Jackson Arnold? I know you haven't gotten through the whole game, but just I felt like, especially early in the game, he had some of the best drives that we've seen from him this season.
Absolutely. And I like you. I know, George, you mentioned it kind of before I got on in the post-game pod, but I thought they did a really nice job getting him into a rhythm early on. I love some of the running back stuff they were doing. They had one first play of the game. They flood out the receivers and hit Gavin Sawchuk in the flat, and it's 7 yards. And people are like, that's no big deal. It's just about getting him in a rhythm and getting him in short down and distances in second and third, getting him into manageable situations as a young quarterback. A year from now, okay, I think Jackson Arnold will be in a place you can play that very differently. They're just not there yet. You can't skip ahead. So I liked that. I thought they used the running backs. if anything, George, what I'm expecting to see in the second half is a feeling of why did that not continue? Why was there not as much activity with the running backs? They throw the one to Taylor Tatum where they show you the inside zone up front, and Taylor Tatum sneaks outside, and the linebackers are just caught. And I maybe there's a reason for it. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to claim I do, but I think Oklahoma showed you some things to build on. And again, with this defense, if Oklahoma can manage the clock, they can do some things, they can hang around in the fourth quarter and maybe pull off a surprise. But they have got to do some stuff on offense to give that defense time and not just keep sending them out there over and over again.
George and I and Bob and Carrie will all be over at the practice field on Monday night to talk to some of the players. We'll talk to Brent Venables on Tuesday when we will greet you again for a practice report in wake of that. Josh Hype will talk to the media on Monday, right?
Yep.
And that was kind of just unique in and of itself. Just you don't really tune into a whole lot of Tennessee press conferences over the last couple of years. Real quick, George, before we get out of here, as of Monday, it kind of sounds like Branson Hickman's going to try to give it a go. It would obviously be a welcomed sight if he was able to get back. Any update on Jake Taylor going into this week?
No, I
know I kind of set you up, but
yeah, I think with Taylor, it's one of those situations. He's just battling a lot of stuff, and I just don't think he's going to be able to give it a go. It wouldn't surprise me.
Sure.
I mean, a couple of weeks ago, he played through some stuff, but I just feel like at this point, if you're playing Sexton at left and Tarquin's playing pretty good at right, like why would you throw out a 70% healthy Jake Taylor? Like that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Now, if Tarquin or Sexton were to go down in the game, would it shock me if Taylor was the one that came in and you flip Tarquin over to left or whatever it is and Jake comes in and plays right? That wouldn't shock me.
Yeah.
That would not surprise me, but I don't think he would start. Hickman, I'm 50-50 with him right now. I think he's going to try his best this week to get onto the field. I don't know how much he'll practice this week because I think he still needs to stay off that ankle. I think he'll go through warmups. I think he's going to come down to being a game time decision. Like
might be one of those deals that you have so much adrenaline going to before the game. Maybe that can get him through on Saturday night. It'd be a welcome sight.
It'll be interesting because we are going to get our first availability reports this week from the SEC.
Wednesday evening.
Yep. I would assume Jake Taylor, Branson Hickman will both be listed as questionable. I think Nick Anderson could maybe be a probable on that. And then I think both Jake Taylor and Branson Hickman will probably be game time decisions listed on that because I think they released another one 90 minutes before kickoff.
And it's expected that Kendall Dolby will be back part of the Oklahoma defense going up this week.
I think so. He's dealing with a concussion situation. I think that it sounds like he'll be ready to go.
Barring any kind of major setback.
I mean, if he was out there on the sideline, I know he had a towel on his head, but like
I think that was more of a cool.
It's hot as hell.
Yeah, and it was hot.
Yeah, so I think he'll be back.
All right, it's going to be a fun week here on the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel as well as SoonerScoop.com. Plenty of coverage coming up with Oklahoma's SEC opener against Tennessee coming up on Saturday night. Josh, we appreciate it. We'll hear from you on Wednesday for the unofficial 40 and everything in between. And is Oklahoma the big ass recruiting list? I'm sure that is or visitor list that is coming together here towards the end of the week. So for George and Josh, I'm Eddie. We'll see you right back here on the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel.